Hello, and welcome to today's stream. I'm not sure how many people will actually end up seeing this, but welcome. My name is Rich. This is actually the second stream that I've ever done. The first one had some issues and wasn't recorded, and I don't really feel that that was any great loss. Today I will be playing a superhero MMO called Champions Online, which has been out for quite a while. I can remember playing it when it first came out, and really enjoying it. Although there were some issues that I think gave it a bad reputation to begin with. I feel like they have been sorted out. The game is smoother, it's easier to play. Certainly I'm better at playing it. Not that I would say I'm good at playing it, but I am better at it now, given that I can read the things that are written on the power descriptions, for example. I also use an online character building tool, so I can get an idea for how power sets would go together, and I'm also a member of the Champions Online Discord, which has a lot of very helpful people on it, and they have collectively put together some very good, very functional builds for freeform characters, and I'm not associated with them. I just use the Discord, but it's been very helpful for me. Anyway, today's stream, I am going to play through Champions Online, looking at the story and the references that it makes to other media, and to do that I have created a character called Technical Issues. She is an electricity user, and I have decided to choose a female character despite being male, because I don't feel like there are enough female characters, kick-ass female characters, in the media that I consume. So when I get the chance to add one, I do so. So, Technical Issues here is an electricity user. I've given her a bit of armor. She has red rings in her eyes, and she is going to be blasting my enemies, our enemies I suppose, with electricity. Now the tutorial has changed somewhat since I first started playing. This is new, particularly, or specifically, this is new in the last 6 to 9 months, which is the last time I think I played this game. But this will provide an introduction to the game, not just for new players, but or not just for the mechanics of the game, but for the story. So,
Contacts have a distinctive icon above their heads.
yeah.
Pleased to meet you. It's always exciting to meet new heroes like yourself. Defender from the Champions told me you'd be a good candidate to help with our new training program. Let's get started, shall we?
Champion is the sort of flagship hero, and no, Defender, sorry. Defender is the flagship hero. The Champions are the flagship superhero team, like the Avengers or the Justice League.
We'd like you to help test a new training simulation for our Ravenswood Academy students. It's based around the Q-Lar invasion of Millennium City that occurred years ago. Talk with Plato, the Ravenswood AI that helps run our school. She can provide more details on the simulation.
So, the initial tutorial, which existed more or less in the same form as what we're about to play, only without this framing device, was supposed to be concurrent when the game was released. And I will just look up when exactly that was, because I don't remember. ...2009, so it is 11 years old. Released 1st of September North America and 10th of September Australia, so it's having its birthday currently. Plato is a sort of omnipresent, well, not totally omnipresent, but highly present AI interface who allows you to hand in quests in lots of different locations. I don't really know that when I was playing last I got much of an impression of what Ravenswood Academy was, so I will...
Ravenswood Academy is a private school in the Millennium City suburb of Orchardsville. While it functions as a regular school, it is secretly a school for superhumans, learning to control their powers, at least to the point where they're not a threat to themselves and others. We've had a number of notable graduates over the years. Prince Morris of Atlantis, Gloriana, Psy, Black Sable, the Machinist, Null, Sideways, Frey. All good students, some of whom have come back to help teach the younger generation.
So, most of these names don't really show up during the main, like, leveling process of the game. I recognize Prince Maurus of Atlantis and Psy and Black Sable, I think. I think Psy and Black Sable turn up later, much later. I think you get to talk to Prince Maurus when you play in the Atlantis area, although I haven't, mainly because I don't really like underwater levels. Not that I think many people do. So we shall have to make sure that we look out for those characters as we play.
Waiting for next simulation trainee.
This is Plato. This is a lot more solid than she usually looks. She's usually a sort of wireframe.
Plato interface online. Designation superhero. Thank you for volunteering to test the Q-Lar invasion simulation MK1.247B. I will be tracking your progress through the tutorial. When you are ready, please proceed to the simulator.
What is the Q-Lar invasion?
The Q-Lar invasion was an alien attack on Millennium City that happened a number of years ago. The villain, known as Dr. Destroyer, triggered a number of alien beacons to summon the Q-Lar invasion fleet, which proceeded to attack the city.
Dr. Destroyer is the sort of premier villain of the setting. The setting, by the way, is derived from the Champions pen and paper RPG. The system...
All frequencies override. Connection complete.
Attention! Calling all heroes. This is Defender with a Priority 1 alert. Millennium City is under attack. I repeat, Millennium City is under attack by a hostile extraterrestrial force, the Kular. I'm directing police and Primus troops to fallback positions, but they are outnumbered and outgunned. They won't last long against the advanced alien technology of the Kular. We need reinforcements fast. I'm reading several new distress signals from the MCPD and EMS units in the south sector of downtown. All available heroes rendezvous with Sergeant McAvoy's team immediately. Help him secure the mayor and any nearby civilians. I repeat, all available heroes rendezvous with Sergeant McAvoy at the following coordinates.
Downloading coordinates now.
Once we have the civilians out of harm's way, we'll regroup at Champions HQ and take the fight back to the Kular. Good luck, heroes. Defender out.
Okay, as I was saying, the systems for character stats and powers are quite different from the pen and paper RPG, or at least the edition of it that I've seen. The stats are the same, broadly speaking, although they are a little arcane when you first look over them. I mean, strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence are things that you recognize, generally speaking, if you play RPGs, but the rest don't necessarily. However, this is not a gameplay how to play necessarily. This is not a stream about how to build characters or how to understand the game. If anyone would like me to explain a little, explain what I know at least, I can do that if I see interest, but for now we are going to look at the story. He desperately wants my attention, and so I shall give him a little.
Thank goodness you're here. You arrived just in time. The Kular have turned Millennium City into a war zone. We need your help.
So, voice acting and voice lines are not present throughout the whole game. They are through the intro levels and what used to be the sort of the next stage that you would play up to about level 15, 20, but which have now been shifted to later on. So those areas have some voice acting when you wouldn't expect them to, after having played through some of the game and seen the voice acting drop off. And they don't refer to your character's name. The game's not quite that advanced or clever.
I'm glad you're here. Any assistance you can give will be greatly appreciated.
So the characters will either refer to you as hero or perhaps champion, I don't remember, or just not say anything here at all.
Kular attack ships have been flying over the city, dropping scores of seed pods. Wherever these pods take root, they grow into hives that can produce firebugs. The officers have gathered up as many of these pods as they could find, and are preparing to destroy them. Could you assist them?
So you will notice as we play
I'm glad you're here.
that there is a particular quantity of ham to dialogue and to quest names. I don't think Seeding Frenzy is a direct reference. Yeah, okay. To a film, or if it is, it's probably an old B movie that I've never seen or heard of. Another reference is quite plain. Thankfully, the only things that hatch from these are sort of giant, angry fire wasps, by which I mean that they are giant wasps, relatively speaking to normal-sized wasps, and they shoot beams of fire, which is different from lasers, from their stingers. They don't really do anything else, they're just irritating, and they have a tendency to explode when you damage them enough.
Excellent work. Preventing the Kular from taking root in the city will make it that much easier to stop this invasion. I'm glad you're here. Any assistance you can give will be greatly appreciated. Thank you again for your assistance. The mayor heard that you are here and would like to speak with you personally. You can find Mayor Bazell under the tent just southwest of here.
Mayor Bazell turns up a little bit later, by which I mean later he will turn up a little bit. At that point, you discover that he's actually quite out of touch and borderline useless at his job. Here, he actually comes across as reasonably competent. This is his daughter, Brianna. She will also feature in quest lines later.
Well, I sure am glad to see you. I've heard some good things about you. But Millennium City is in sore need of some heroes right now. My administration will not stand for aliens attacking Millennium City. When the Kular attack began, I set up a command post in the Samson building. But the initial assault gutted the building and drove everyone outside into the streets. When we fled the building, I left behind my laptop and briefcase. In the laptop is a disk with the city's emergency response plan. The codes to activate the plan are in my briefcase. If I can access these items, I can get a message out of the bubble and help coordinate the city's defense. My administration will...
Yeah. Interesting, well, perhaps interesting to note, is that the area in which the tutorial takes place is also an area that you can access, kind of access later in the game, in that this area is an area that is, I mean, the Champions HQ building here is one that you can go to in the Millennium City outdoor zone, and so is all of this waterfront and park section, although it's not ruined later on in the game. They've repaired it. Really missing my travel powers. You get them at level 6, so generally speaking, if you start the game without playing the tutorial, you just get access. You start at level 6, you get access to travel powers immediately, and I kind of miss them. This is Sapphire, by the way. She's another of the champions, the superhero team. You got quests from her initially in the original version of the tutorial, but now she just stands here giving information. Good to see a friendly face and some capable hands. We can use all the help we can get right now. The Kular have pushed us back, and I can't contact any of other members of the champions. So, there is one aspect of playing the tutorial that you might want to come back for if you've already played it once, and that is an achievement from standing on top of this. The achievements don't do anything, unlike in the two other main superhero MMOs that I've played, City of Heroes and DCUO. In those games, achievements stack up and gradually contribute a little bit to character power. So there is a point to getting them. There is not really a point in this game other than bragging rights, and I think titles. Another interesting thing to note is that almost all of the enemies, or at least the humanoid ones, are creatable with the hero creator. You can't create a Kular Firebug character, but you can create a Kular if you are dedicated and look through all of the costume options. just going to change my powers to red so that they match the secondary colour. There we go. Power sets, or powers, generally also available to characters, so you could build a perfect recreation of a QLAR drone if the desire struck you, including the powers that they have available. I have seen the Monster Factory episode of this, and one thing that slightly annoyed me at the time was the use of powers. Now, I did say earlier that this isn't going to be a how to play necessarily, but this is an energy builder power. It builds energy, this game's equivalent of mana, and it's a toggle. You don't actually have to keep pressing it. You just hit it at the start of a fight and it keeps going, builds your energy so that you can do bigger attacks like chain lightning. I had a travel power. I'm so slow.
Many thanks. I will activate the city's emergency response plan immediately. My administration will not have information Chief Surhoff needs to see ASAP. These photos show the QLAR massing for an assault on his position. The QLAR are jamming our communications, so I need someone to deliver them. I think you have the best chance of getting to him in time. Can I count on you? Just follow the road west until you see another police barricade. My administration.
There used to be a quest that you got by picking up something that belongs to Brianna and bringing it back to her, but I haven't seen it, and they have removed a lot from the tutorial since I last really played it, so it might be that it just isn't there anymore, which is fair enough. As I understand things, one of the main creators for City of Heroes was himself one of the main creators of this game, and the reason he left City of Heroes is because they weren't really letting him do the things he wanted to creatively with with the game, so he came and did it here in Champions Online, and the initial game was not terribly good. I don't know what happened to him afterwards, but yeah, okay. It can't have been good that he was proven wrong when the game that he wanted control over, the game that he wanted to create with the control he wasn't allowed in City of Heroes, turned out not to be very good or playable in its initial form.
Talk about cutting it close. I'll redeploy my men immediately. We have a good chance of fighting off the impending attack, thanks to that intel you delivered.
I'll owe you big time after this. If you ever get a parking ticket in Millennium City, just give me a call. Wow. Saving the city, or at least the police chief and his force, gets you let off a parking ticket.
Our ability to fight the Qdar is being hampered by civilians trapped near this area. As long as citizens are mixed in with the bugs, the Mars troopers don't dare use any of their most powerful weapons for fear of injuring civilians. Keep an eye out for civilians and emergency workers in trouble. Direct any you rescue to come here. We should be able to keep them safe for the time being.
Yeah, it's always interesting that injured characters in games, or it's always interesting when injured characters in games have full health bars. I don't think it's possible. Oh no, it would be possible if you were playing a Celestial build. You could get healing powers this early in the game. And it, again, is always interesting to me when you have healing powers and hurt NPCs, but you can't use your healing powers to heal those hurt NPCs. It seems just a bit of oversight.
I'm really worried I might miss my flight to Canada. Do you think the invasion may have delayed my plane?
You do actually go to Canada, or at least a section of Canada later, so it will be interesting to see whether he's there.
I have some EMT training, and I've done all I can for the injured we have here, but I'm afraid some of them aren't gonna make it without additional treatment. I heard Chief Surhoff mention that some ambulances were ambushed and ransacked by Qlar not far from here. If you reach the ambulances, could you recover the medical supplies from the aliens and bring them to me? I'm really worried I might...
I do have to wonder why insectoid aliens with an exoskeleton need human medical supplies. The reason I come up here is because in the initial tutorial there was a way out here, and there were enemies spawning along this section, but they have blocked it off in the years since. I don't really know why I'm noting that. I guess I'm just a little nostalgic for the game I used to know. Ah, an item drop. Medical supplies. Splendid. Oh, come on. There we go. Oops. I thought I had him dead before that would hit. Attacks like that are the reason that you would use a block power. Generally speaking, it's not worth it. And even in that case, it didn't really do very much damage to me, or inconvenience me particularly. But that's really because I had just killed him, or just about killed him.
Many of the Qlar closer to the Champions building have been driven into a berserker rage. These enraged drones are hurling themselves at Maite Sanchez and her team in endless waves. Sanchez won't be able to hold out long against this sort of assault. Defeat 9 enraged drones to take some of the pressure off Maite and her team. Look for the drones with the red glow.
They're also much more buff than ordinary drones. I'm just going to turn the volume up a little. I am leaving some space for the audio to play and be audible for you guys, because it's telling part of the story, and that's the reason that we're here. in the original tutorial, there used to be a lot of people standing around, a lot of debris that you would have to lift or destroy to free them. But that is gone now. It does show up a little bit later in one or two missions.
Gaining a level is an opportunity to improve.
I guess that was another simplification made for the benefit of new players. Interesting. Not sure what costume piece that is.
Get out there and kick those Kular back to whatever galaxy they came from. Dr. Silverback detected strange alien energy waves in the city that are driving some of the Kular insane. We need to find the source. The Kular have antenna arrays that are more sensitive to the waves than our own equipment. Take these scanner drones and activate them near two of the Kular antennae. The drones will tap into their data and allow us to pinpoint the source of the energy. My scouts report 3 antennae, one to the north, one to the west, and one to the southwest. You need to scan 2 to triangulate the source of the signal. Silverback fired a hologram communicator into the area near the Champions building. Take the drones there when you finish. Get out there and kick those Kular.
There also used to be a mission to use a sort of zappy ray gun on the enraged drones to remove the enrage effect from them. I'm not sure why that's been removed, because it paints the hero as rather more compassionate. I'm not sure which part is supposed to be the antenna. Well, I suppose that is, but I don't really know what these are supposed to be. Well. Yeah, luckily these huge alien eggs don't launch face huggers at people. So, it used to be, way back at the beginning, that one of the stable of own brand superheroes, Kinetic, the speedster, used to be trapped here. And you'd have to defend him from, I think, a couple of waves of enemies before he got loose. We'll see him in a little bit because he's currently over here on the steps up to the Champions building, protecting the Champions headquarters. Another thing that there used to be in this game is along here somewhere a joke villain called Foxbat used to be trapped under a piece of rubble, and if you rescued him you could get a limited use power, one of his guns. Well, I say guns. He's a joke character, so he uses ping pong ball launchers. Mostly he's an irritation. He doesn't show up very much, I not really found him very funny, but that could just be because I played through his storyline a number of times, perhaps too often.
Excellent. The Mars scouts report that they see no civilians in immediate danger from the Q-Lar. With the citizens out of the way, we can take the fight to the aliens now.
Mars, I think, are this game's equivalent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I said I was only 2 weeks from retirement.
I'm really worried I might miss my flight to Canada.
Next we go and talk to Dr. Silverback. The name is not a coincidence. He is actually a gorilla. He comes from Monster Island, which is an island where the villain Dr. Moreau set up base and created the Manimals. There is a sort of political civil war going on between the Manimals. There are some who are pro-humanity and some who are anti-humanity. And you eventually, when you get to Monster Island, you help the ones who are pro-human. As I said, Dr. Silverback, here's a gorilla.
Salutations, my esteemed compatriot. I was occupied with some experiments on Monster Island when the Q-Lar launched their invasion. It's a relief we have somebody like you to help against this interstellar aggression.
That's the second reference that I've heard to the Q-Lar being interstellar, like... Oh, interstellar, yeah, okay. Confused there. I thought he said intergalactic. Interstellar makes sense, they're aliens.
Connect the drone controller to the rocket pod, and the data will download automatically. Interesting. This data pattern looks very familiar. Do be careful. These Q-Lar are not to be underestimated.
Just looking up Dr. Silverback because I don't know that he is a member of the Champions or not. It looks like the internet, the Wi-Fi on my tablet. Oh no, there we go. It's fixed itself. Jolly good. Let's try again. I think he does a lot of tech support for it, but he's not actually a member. Oh no, he is a member. Okay. Fair enough. Ah, yes, Full Metal Jacket. The name is a reference, but thankfully...
I believe the signal that summoned this invasion fleet is coming from inside the Champions building. But simply turning it off is not going to make the Q-Lar go home. The Q-Lar mothership is literally the brains of the fleet. If we destroy it, the remaining Q-Lar will lose direction and withdraw. Ironclad assembled pieces of an old linear accelerator from my lab, but the mothership destroyed it before he could put it to use. There are enough spare parts scattered around in crates to repair it, but Ironclad needs your help to do so. Find Witchcraft on the west side of the Champions building once the cannon is rebuilt. Do be careful. These Q-Lar...
Ironclad is an alien... He's covered in a living metal. He's sort of kind of a Hulk equivalent, except not really. He's big and strong, but that's it. He was a gladiator on another planet. Here he is. Very impressive. Level 1. Witchcraft, mentioned earlier, is also a member of the Champions. Sorry, he is. And so is Kinetic, the Speedster. Witchcraft is kind of a bit like Satana or Doctor Strange or Scarlet Witch, except she's themed green and at least when you play alongside her in collaborative missions, not terribly effective. But that is a curse that strikes a lot of NPCs in games. We're on collecting the pieces now. I do like that you sort of summon a tool with which to interact, but it is interesting that it's a hammer and not a crowbar. Oh, defend the cannon. Okay. This up here is the mothership, by the way. You can't really see it very well through the haze, but it is there. Oh yes, I was going to mention the quest name, Full Metal Jacket. That is a reference, but thankfully that is the only reference. That and the quest does technically contain a gun. I have seen Full Metal Jacket. I don't think that it's really appropriate for the rating that this game has. Yeah, okay. So this was an open mission. They crop up every now and then. They don't... No, they do have some story, so I'll involve myself, I suppose. Now these are technically useful items. Kular mines and low power healing patch, but they're not really that useful, so I will just sell them later. Characters in this are generally speaking pretty survivable, especially when the challenge level or difficulty is set to the easiest. Certainly your character is more survivable than, for example, a similarly leveled character in World of Warcraft. Oh yes, here is Kinetic. Said we would meet him a little bit later, and there he is. Yeah, see, even taking full-on blasts of charged up powers from enemies doesn't really do anything to you. I would be in trouble if I'd accidentally managed to pull the whole wave, but luckily there are some guards up here. These are Primus soldiers. I don't know if they're the same as people from MARSS, but oh well. Witchcraft.
The cannon is completed? Great! The Kular have been fighting hard to get inside the Champions building. Kinetic and I have managed to hold most of them off, but some managed to slip by us. Defender followed them inside. I think he may need your help. We must prevent any more Qlar from entering the headquarters.
Witchcraft and Defender are dating.
Dr. Silverback analyzed the data you collected and pinpointed the source of the energy. It's coming from inside the Champions building. Silverback thinks the old Qlar homing beacons we captured during the last attack on Earth have been reactivated somehow, and someone tampered with the signal to drive the Qlar crazy. That explains why the Qlar have been trying so hard to get inside. Go inside the Champions building and find Defender. Help him shut down the beacons and launch Ironclad to the mothership. We must prevent any more
Yep, it's a giant gun. You may have noticed, I didn't point them out, but you may have noticed that there were some man-sized, bullet-shaped, well, round-shaped pods standing about. Ironclad launches himself at the ship. Oh yes, I was saying that Witchcraft and Defender are dating. It does feature a little bit later on.
Success inside the Champions building means the defeat of the Qlar invasion. Once the Qlar are defeated, you will be unable to complete or turn in any missions that take place during the invasion. If you have unfinished missions you wish to complete or turn in, it is recommended that you do so before entering the Champions building. Success inside the Champions building.
Yeah, it doesn't really feature, and perhaps I should talk a little bit about Defender. We're not really going to get a chance once we're inside, because he'll run up and start talking to you. He's a bit like a cross between Iron Man and Captain America, in that he invented all of his own gear. His gear uses repulsor technology to blast people, and he maintains a secret identity, which is different from Iron Man and from Captain America, but his personality, certainly in costume, is very much of the Captain America school. So let's begin. Oh, perhaps I should have mentioned, up here was, just before was Dr. Destroyer, and down here with the forearms and the tusks was Grond, a sort of villainous Hulk stand-in equivalent. Grond has forearms and tusks. Ah, here we are, Destroyed. These are the creations of Dr. Destroyer. They come in several varieties. Ooh, that's interesting. I don't think I have that. So here is a big beefy Destroid. He will shoot at you with wrist bolters, but also punch you. Ooh, he was really doing a number on me, wasn't he? This health buff. And here is Defender. Blue and white costume.
Over here. We don't have much time. Black Talon and his Destroid minions are behind the Qlar attack on Millennium City. The Qlar are just pawns. Black Talon used some sort of technology to provoke the Qlar to attack. You look like you can handle yourself pretty well. If we stop Black Talon, I bet we can turn the tide of this entire invasion. We don't have much time. The Black Talon armor was created by Dr. Destroyer himself. So anybody who wears it is not to be underestimated. I hope you are ready for the fight of your life.
Let's just pick up this. Bind it to my account.
Black Talon is our adversary. He's a servant of Dr. Destroyer.
And if we don't bring him down quickly, he'll lay waste to all Millennium City.
Black Talon, I think, is actually the suit of armor, and then I guess whoever wears it gains the mantle and the name of Black Talon. That's a power that you can get. It's called Orbital Bombardment. Sadly, it is not the most powerful attack in the game.
I'll hold off the reinforcements.
Even though it is quite cool.
You're going to have to defeat Black Talon on your own.
Warned. Ordinarily, I mean, at a higher level, I wouldn't bother going around picking up
You've shown great bravery today,
health.
my friend. We need to shut down all those beacons.
Power-ups like that. Once I get a healing power, I won't need to. But for now, I will pick up health bonuses like that.
The beacons are down. Let's launch Ironclad and hope he's able to bring down the Kular mothership. This door leads to the defense control room.
If this is so time sensitive, I'm not sure why he's pausing so often. Yep.
Go for it. Launch the Ironclad defense.
Huge shell with a false bullet top.
Seal the shell. We don't have much time.
Not sure how he gets lifted in.
Ironclad's hypervelocity shell easily penetrated both the shield and the mothership's armor.
Seems to have been traveling fast enough.
The destruction of the mothership sent the Kular into confusion. The surviving aliens fled.
Dr. Destroyer. Oh, it's gone already. Damn. Okay.
Plato interface online. Please let me know if you require assistance. Designation Superhero. Thank you for your help in testing the Kular invasion simulation MK1.247B. Your data has been uploaded to the Ravenswood Academy databanks for processing. Headmistress Rowan would like to speak to you before you leave.
Yep, okay.
No trace
I
operation
monitored your
simulation.
progress through the Kular invasion simulation. Very impressive. Thank you again for helping test this scenario. This will be a valuable training exercise for the Ravenswood Academy students. The Powerhouse is a special training facility for heroes and is what made the Kular invasion simulation possible. Head to the main lobby and speak with one of the trainers. They will show you how to unlock your hidden potential and make sure you are properly equipped.
Yeah, this, the interior decoration is, indicates that we are within the powerhouse, particularly this cog with a lightning bolt in it. The powerhouse is supposed to be extra dimensional, I think. An extra dimensional space. If you're not playing the tutorial, you will enter over here at level 6 and come down and speak to one of these members of Powerhouse. You don't have to come here to level up. You're able to do that outside, but you can, when you come here, remove your powers as a retcon. Indeed, they're called retcons, and you spend tokens to use them. Any changes that you make, any powers that you buy, you can remove for free whilst you're inside the powerhouse, but once you leave through here, they become fixed, and then when you return, if you want to remove something you've bought, you have to spend in-game currency to do so. So let's train up. Primary super stat. I think I've got the build guide open on my tablet, so I will just check it. Your primary, secondary, and tertiary super stats grow with you as you level up. So choosing, I think it's ego that I want this time. Choosing one now will increase as you go up. So yes, ego, dexterity, endurance. Okay, ego description is there, but it improves your range damage. I'm not quite sure how ego equates to range damage. As far as I can remember, the description in the actual rule book for the pen and paper game doesn't explain it either. Presence aids healing. Recovery sets where this it's called your equilibrium rests. You don't have to have your equilibrium all the way up here, but having it all the way down here is bad because it means you have to have some ramp up using your energy building power before you can actually start using big attacks. So select travel power. There's a huge number of travel powers, most of which come unlocked, but some of which, well, okay, no. The balance has shifted since the game started because of additions, but some of them are unlockable through stuff that you find in the game, and some of them are unlockable with the paid-for currency Zen. So I'm just going to hide the ones that I don't have. Teleportation and tunneling are quite good because they remove you from... They basically wipe your threat and make you untargetable. Well, not. They make you untargetable, they don't wipe your threat, so you can use them to escape if necessary. But if you're building a character well enough, you shouldn't need to escape. Generally, I choose flight because it's useful. You can float there out of the way. Athletics is good. Super jump is kind of annoying because you don't really go forwards very much. You go up and then come down. Super speed, it's not my style. And swinging is quite fun, if slow. So I'm just going to go ahead and choose flight. Now, ice slide is in here. I'm not really sure why. Let me demonstrate, because this does kind of slightly annoy me. You get a sort of ice surfboard and then a trail behind you. I think the implication is supposed to be that you are like Iceman from the X-Men, Bobby Drake? Not sure. But if you fly up, I'm not touching the keyboard anymore, so if you fly up and then stop using the power, you drop, which to me doesn't say flight power. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that. I also have a slight beef with the teleportation powers because what they actually do is move you out of phase and then you become weightless and you can float around, and then after about 5 seconds you return to phase. Enduring. Okay. And then I shall choose, yes, electric form. The way that you build a character is kind of unique. When I was first playing the game, I didn't read power descriptions, so I didn't know that slotted passives were useful. Certainly they didn't seem as useful as just buying a new attack power, but for example, electric form deals additional energy damage. That's just all energy damage. It also, this one specifically, increases my energy equilibrium by a bit and reduces electrical damage taken, and it's generally pretty good if you're being attacked by someone using electrical powers, which doesn't happen that often, unfortunately, but there we go. I guess I'll just change my... oh no, I did that before, okay. So we should be ready. Unfortunately, there isn't a retailer inside here. This guy sells auras. I think you have to be a subscriber to be able to use his service. He cycles through all the auras that he sells so that you get an idea of what they look like, but you can also change the color once you get it slotted of most of them. I think you cannot change Invulnerability's color. So that is Radiant Protection, I think. That's regeneration. So these used to be the effects that just permanently applied, that's Seraphim, when you were using a slotted passive, like electrical form, and that's shadow form. Electric form is here, but they changed it so that you could choose one, and also so that you could either have it on all the time or only when you're in combat, which is good, I think, because some of these, particularly shadow form, tend to obscure your character's detail, and if you spent a while building your character, you don't really want it to be obscured in that way. Anyway, let us be about our story searching business. Grond, Dr. Destroyer, Foxbat. I think the lady wearing the swimsuit was Medusa, who was psychic.
Millennium
helpfully.
City, a gleaming city of the future. A triumph of human engineering and a testament to the human imagination. But behind the beauty, there is tragedy. Ours is a city built upon the ashes of catastrophe. When the maniac known as Dr. Destroyer brought down the city that stood here before, cutting short the lives of thousands. To this day, there are those who live in fear that Dr. Destroyer will rise again to threaten this great city. Some even say he already has returned, that Destroyer was responsible for the recent Kular invasion, and now he's producing an army of robots from a facility hidden somewhere within city limits, and that another savage attack on Millennium City could come at any time. I am here to make sure that does not happen. My name is Defender. I am the leader of the Champions, the world's most powerful super team. This is my town, and it's my duty to protect it. But if you're willing to lend a hand, I would be honored to accept your assistance.
So, history of Millennium City, as that It was built on the ruins of the destroyed Detroit city in Michigan after it was attacked and basically leveled by Dr. Destroyer in, I think, the 70s. So, here is Defender. It used to be that his costume was different and was made up of partially unobtainable costume pieces. So you couldn't perfectly recreate a character that looks like him. These costume pieces are available, but they are only available through premium purchases and randomly.
Good to see you. Trouble is brewing on West Side, and we could use your help.
Don't know that you can hear him over the cheering. Thanks for that, by the way, Baby Penguin. Good to see you, Technical Issues. Trouble is brewing in the West Side, and we could use your help. Greetings, Technical Issues. I'm looking to get heroes into fighting shape. Are you interested in taking part in my training program? To participate, you must get a brand new character to level 40 within the event dates. It doesn't matter how you get to 40. The character must be brand new. It cannot be an existing character on your account. Once you do this, you will be given a special title, and tokens will be purchased. Tokens used to purchase unique rewards. Take your tokens to Stallion Williams to exchange them for emotes, costume slots, and more. Okay. Technical issues. They've called in important allies to help combat the spike in villainous activity. One of those allies is a man called the Drifter. Another is you. The Drifter is helping us manage threats to the city and coordinate appropriate responses. I've told him all about you. I hope we can count on you to help in these dangerous times. I don't know that a rookie hero is the person you want to help save the city, but any help you can get, I suppose. The Drifter, we'll meet him in a minute. He's over there. He doesn't actually do anything. Bare Necessity is actually a useful quest. There are disturbing reports coming out of West Side about a major increase in gang activity. I would like you to spearhead an investigation of those reports. Head to the 8th Precinct in West Side. It's due west of my position here and just below the dividing wall along the waterfront. Talk to Kodiak. He's an FBI agent working in the MCPD Gang Task Force. He can brief you on the situation and get your investigation started. You'll probably find him near that monster truck of his he's so proud of. Due to the urgency of the situation, you may use one of the teleporter pads here to reach him quickly. I don't think I will, because flying over there will give us a view of the city, or part of the city. Leader of the super team The Champions, Defender is one of the most popular and highest profile heroes on the entire planet. Inspired in his youth to become a hero after witnessing the horrific events of the Battle for Detroit, James Harmon IV created an advanced suit of power armor, dubbed himself Defender, and has been a tireless crusader for justice ever since. He has been romantically tied to witchcraft, but is too much of a gentleman to discuss his personal life. Also, yes, he's keeping a secret identity, which does make it awkward to date as a superhero, I would imagine. If your other half does not also have a secret identity. So, all of this is because the game is celebrating its 11th birthday. Wow, that is a big tail relative to body size. And he's a swinger as well. That is, he's using the swinging power set. Ordinarily this space would be empty unless an event is going on. They happen semi-frequently. Now, here is the Drifter. He is a cyborg cowboy. He stands here waiting for you to bring him things. Technical issues. Word is, you're one of the better heroes in this city. That doesn't say very good things about the city. At least that's what Defender says. Oh, well, better believe Defender. Glad to have you on board. You might have noticed the increase in villain activity. I hadn't, actually. I'm new in town. The champions have. They called in some favors and, well, here we both are. Ready to fight? I am. I know you're not. So you just hand stuff into him. You hand in Questionite and Drifter Salvage. And you... something to do with Justice Gear. I don't really care. This is the vendor you actually care about if you're playing the game, because he's someone that you can sell junk to. And then the place we need to get to is out over here. So this is the full area. Well, I say full area. The cutoff is actually along here. I'm not really sure why. And then this is also a cutoff. You can get up here. I think this is just to give extra background. I rarely come over this direction, so I don't know what is visible over here when you're actually in this location, and I'm not really going to bother trying to find out just at the moment. This is the area that the tutorial happened in. You can visit it again now if you feel like. The buildings aren't destroyed anymore, although this area is a little bit dangerous because enemies in that area are about level 20, and also up in this area as well. This is where you meet Mayor Bizel. He's giving a speech in a park outside the city hall. Let's zoom out. We'll fly over here. This is the dividing wall. I'm not sure why. I'm sure it made sense at the time. Anyway. This is the only section of the city that has these gigantic, brightly coloured buildings. It's called the Renaissance Centre. This is the west side. It's got the docks and the broadcast centre, which contains a quest that's a reference to Anchorman, which is an eminently quotable movie, but I didn't really enjoy it watching the whole thing back as a single unit. So here is Kodiak. There is a helpful clue in his name, and this is his monster truck. I don't know why an FBI agent who is clearly a metahuman warrants a monster truck, and I'm not entirely convinced he could fit comfortably in the cockpit. But there we go. Pleased to meet you. Things are heating up in Westside, and we need all the help we can get. Yes, Purple Gang. Don't let the fancy veneer... Oh, come on. It's not that difficult to avoid pulling... These dang kids today think they are tough because they're in a gang. You and me ought to go and show these punks the meaning of the word tough. Okay. Taking back West Side. These Purple Gang mooks are getting out of hand. They know my guys are stretched thin, and they're getting bolder because of this crazy plan they're cooking up, whatever it is. Brute force is the only way to get the message across to these guys. I'd like you to rough up a few Purple Gang members anywhere here in Westside. They'll back off for a bit and give us some breathing room to figure out what's going on. Doesn't seem like the sort of thing an FBI agent should be encouraging an unaffiliated vigilante to do, but... Okay, maybe the rules are different here in this universe. Restaurant racketeering. The Purple Gang are roughing up the local restaurant owners and their employees. Just here in Little Italy. Yep. We think they're running a racketeering scheme on these folks. No one's called us in to stop it. They're too scared to speak up. West Side was hit hard in the invasion. We don't need these purple gang mooks adding to the troubles of the business owners and employees. If you see anyone being roughed up for money, I want you to put a stop to it. Well, that's a reasonable enough request. Who is Kevin Poe? He is the leader of the new purple gang. Have you pulled Moyo Simba? No. That's alright then. Kevin Poe is the little creep in charge of the new purple gang. His father, Sebastian Poe, was the founder of that psychic supervillain group Psi, but he was betrayed by his underlings Simon and Medusa, and they took over Psi and sent Sebastian to jail. Now Kevin is obsessed with taking down Psi and getting revenge for what was done to his father, so he's trying to take control of the Millennium City street gangs in order to raise an army big enough to take on Psi. Okay. Note that it is spelt differently from the South Korean rapper, so Psy, the singer, is safe from the gang. If he exists in this universe. Although, I'm sure that someone has built a Psy character at some point. Ordinarily, I'd whip out a vehicle and start blasting people, but in the interests of showing the story, I'm not going to do that. Because, for one thing, not everyone has vehicles. They are mainly purchasable through premium currency, which I have in the past bought because I was super into the game. So I've got a bunch of vehicles, and vehicles are basically like summonable mounts, a bit like in World of Warcraft, except they can attack, and each individual vehicle has a unique, well, almost unique set of attack powers. There's a selection. Yep, to get close to you so that they can use melee attacks. Melee villains will jump off buildings in a game with falling damage. So, good job, villains. There are 4 grades of mob in the game. So there's one with 1 health bar, one with 2 health bars. That's a henchman, villain. The mob boss that we fought earlier with the Tommy gun over here has 3, and I think he's an arch villain. And there are super villains with they don't have 4 health bars, but they do have a lot more health, a lot more attacks, and are generally much more dangerous. Who have I pulled? Oh, these guys. Okay. Oh, because chain lightning jumps. Of course it does. Oh, there we go. Pulled the net. Pulled again. Whoops. That was a mistake. Ugh. That's not what I wanted to do. Yeah, when you're in combat, the flight power, well, all movement powers slow down considerably, which is a little irritating, but I suppose it makes sense. It makes escaping difficult. Vehicles in this game don't drive terribly. Then amongst some of the worst drivers, I think, in video games, but they're not the worst. They also don't stop for any pedestrians, even if pedestrians are walking across the, even if NPCs rather are walking across the road, vehicles will just drive into them and push them around. Nobody actually gets hurt, and I don't think you can actually damage vehicles, at least not as a hero. Thanks for the assist. My guys are already reporting the Purple Gang has backed off a bit more. Don't let the fancy veneer fool you. Mill City will grind you up and spit you out like your yesterday's news if you ain't careful. I don't know what accent he's supposed to have. He never has any voice lines, so it's not clear. What do I want? Let's take Constitution Recovery. Excellent work. It sounds as if the Purple Gang is using this sewer as the access point for their operations. Since it's hidden, it's probably something they don't want crime fighters to see, which means we're going to take a look, of course. Explore the gang's route through the sewer. I'll get on the horn with Defender and give him coordinates so you can try and meet up with him. If you locate the gang's operation, signal him. While you go in and handle things underground, I'll be keeping an eye out on the surface. Between the three of us, we should be able to catch them red-handed. This coming up, this quest, Thick as Thieves, gives you the most commonly encountered voice line from Defender. I think it's become kind of a meme. Not one that I've really interacted with very much, but I've seen reference to the fact that it's memeified. We'll see it when we get to it later. The new Purple Gang is one of the groups trying to take over the west side. Normally they ain't a problem, but since the Kular invasion, the MCPD has had a tough time keeping track of everything as well as we'd like. You're FBI, not MCPD. We think Poe's gang is using a local warehouse to plan their next heist. If you could go in and break up whatever little party they have going on in there and find out what they are up to next, I'd be real appreciative. Finding lots of errors in the game that I hadn't noticed before. Yeah, so here we are. Master Villain. Okay, there we go, not Arch Villain. So he's got 3 health bars and loads more health than this chap who has 170. He's got 852. This is the lower end, that's level 6. That's as low as you're going to find in the general world, I think. You do find variations like this in mob level throughout the whole game. Generally speaking, you don't want to take on an Master Villain alongside a bunch of mobs like this, plus some villains. But at this level it's not really such an issue. Now, this person here, or whichever NPC it is that shows out there, does occasionally give you a mission or a quest. I don't know whether they will this time. Oh, there we go. Exactly what I was trying to avoid. I suppose if I'd chosen a different second power, that wouldn't happen, but oh well. They didn't stick around to give me a mission this time. Oh well. Not such a big deal.
Should have made another drop by now.
Don't know, boss. There they are.
Top-notch voice acting.
Let's go.
Let's run for it.
I do like that they're running away from technical issues, as though a malfunctioning computer is enough to make them flee. But I suppose in a world that has superheroes and super science and super technology, maybe a malfunctioning computer is something you want to avoid. The main reason I have not allowed them to run away is that otherwise they would run straight through here and through... There's another doorway through there that you can't see because of the haze, but I know it's there. And if I were a melee character, or indeed a character with a randomly arcing power like this one, they would be annoyingly close to a bunch of other mobs that are just in that other room through there, and pulling all of them at once would be annoying. Interestingly, this piece of debris, if my strength characteristic were high enough, I would be able to pick that up and throw it. It wouldn't do very much damage, but the option would still be there. There we are.
Seal the door. You got it.
I like how they've put a lot of effort into syncing up the audio and the speech bubbles there. I'm also, well, I would say I don't know what accent they're supposed to be using, but this is a fictional city that was built over the ruins of a previous city, so maybe it is accurate. Who knows? So, those two who were running away that we saw in the first cutscene would have run all the way through here and would be just chilling out here, and would be easy to pull accidentally. I've just learned over time that I should be cautious and not let them get away. So you can use your energy builder and move, because it's just a toggle power, but you do stop moving when you use your other powers. I think I mentioned earlier that you could, if you felt like it, build a QLAR. You could also build a balding with comb over and stubble and aviators loan shark of the Purple Gang, or New Purple Gang I should say. If the desire struck you, complete with the power sets that they use. He's using a shotgun that's available as a power, although I don't really feel like bows and arrows or guns are a superpower. You need the access code to operate the door. I think this is just to teach new characters, new players, how to use flashing interactable objects. So let me see if I can recall the gangs in the city. So there's the New Purple Gang. There are the... There's the Bikers, the Clockwork Orange rip-off dudes, and the Asian stereotypes. I can't remember the names of the other ones. But at least one of them is fairly inventive. The Clockwork Orange dudes. Now, I did say that I don't think that using guns is a superpower on its own, but having watched a bunch of Forgotten Weapons YouTube videos and through them learnt more about gun use in general, I have come to the understanding that if you use 2 pistols together and are able to hit things consistently, that might actually qualify as a superpower, because my understanding is that you would have to have forearms like Popeye to consistently hit targets if you're holding a gun of any sort in just the one hand without any bracing, any other way of bracing it at all. So perhaps dual-wielding pistols should count as a superpower, but just using guns kind of doesn't, in my opinion. Also not super clear on how his Tommy gun, you can just about see, yeah, there we go. Well, it's probably not a Tommy gun actually, strictly speaking, but it looks a bit like a Tommy gun, so that's close enough. I'm not super clear how a weapon like that can switch to the single shot super high power attack that he uses occasionally, particularly if it's got a drum mag. Maybe he's loading through the breach somehow? I don't know. So advantage points are ways to upgrade your character as you go. I probably should have spent the 2 points on improving electric form before, but I was distracted and forgot. Ah yes, Cobra Lords, there we are, the bikers. They've got, yeah, Bronco, there we go. They've got animal names, Coyote. Pretty sure they've also got Bear. So my read on the Cobra Lords is that they are all gay bikers. Although in fact, the only faction that has female character models is the Clockwork Orange ripoff dudes, whose names I still can't remember. The Purple Gang and the Bad Asian Stereotypes, and the Cobra Lords do not. Picked up the Vigilante lockbox. The lockboxes are only openable with cosmic keys of power, which you get through the online store, well, the in-game store with Zen. Let's put on braces. So I managed to pull everyone from this room. There would have been a couple of guys over here. I think this is when Defender talks to us. Yes, here we are.
Good work, Hero. I've penetrated the other side of the building. Let's investigate further.
Penetrated the building.
Let's trap these miscreants between us.
When we get to the area where we meet him, that's basically the exit. So I'm not entirely sure what he is doing. Cult of the Red Banner. Okay, there we go. Now, I said earlier that this game was full of references. When we meet the leader of the Cult of the Red Banner, you'll see one of many references to a John Carpenter films in general.
Too long have we been at each other's throats like a pack of feral dogs.
Thunderbird. Oh no, the Maniacs, that's a fifth one. Okay. And the Black Aces, that's the one. High Pan.
What should be ours?
Leader of the Red Banners.
It seems we have uninvited guests. I just remember the most pressing engagement elsewhere. Time to go.
None of the other arch-villains were leaders of their respective faction. It's just Hypan. The Madmen, who also, as I want to mention because I had forgotten about them entirely, they also do have female model mobs, but fantastic. Now, I would say that the game came out 11 years ago, and maybe that could allow some amount of leeway for the stereotypes, but I don't know that it does. They made quite an obvious joke with Hypan mispronouncing the Millennium City name. We should return to Kodiak and let him know that what we found here. The gang troubles in West Side just got a lot bigger than we imagined. I'm sure Kodiak will have more for you to do. It's imperative we head off this gang alliance in West Side. The MCPD is too short on manpower to handle it. So, pretty sure that Defender was just chilling out over here somewhere for the whole time I was running around. Purple mist is still there. It's interesting. Chain lightning is really getting me in trouble pulling extra mobs. Kind of annoying. I might change that power to something that's less arbitrary. Gear I got. So that mission just now with Defender is the one most commonly seen by new player, well, any player really, because you pretty much always have to take these missions, even if you're power leveling with influence or experience boosts. So you keep seeing him over and over again, talking about penetrating buildings. Which has led to people making jokes at his expense. So, I'm looking at the time. I think I'm going to finish this mission and call it the end of the stream once I am done. Leveling up, luckily, fills out your health bar. What's the next power I want to be taking? Don't know that it's that. I think I probably want the toggle form, because this each time you achieve one of these conditions, you gain a stack of a damage increasing buff and gain a small amount of energy, so let's go with that. Can't really buy anything. Generally speaking, challenge is something you want if you're a tank, so I'm not going to be taking it. Accelerated metabolism is generally not that useful, I don't think. So I will be leaving it and saving my advantage points for bigger things. These are until recognition. Until is another Shield or Star Labs equivalent organization. I'm not sure which one it is, what exactly the character of the organization is, but it's in-game currency. I think the main front of the Purple Gang is that of a shipping company, which is why we're in a warehouse filled with shipping containers and boxes. I don't know what's supposed to be inside this, or how you would comfortably ship it, but okay. I have to admit, not a lot of story going on here at the moment, but hopefully that's okay. You can, if you're a melee character, just burst straight through this gap in the boxes and get right into melee before they see you, which is fun. Given that I'm a ranged character, I don't really need that. But, nearly at the end, there's the exit. No way out, hero. I'm not in here with you. You're in here with me. Not quite so threatening, and you haven't just tipped a vat of hot oil over someone's face. But then I am flying and shooting lightning out my hands, so maybe the intimidation factor is roughly equivalent. Always interesting to wonder how exactly characters in games like this who use obviously lethal attacks like sharp swords and guns are supposed to be still considered as superheroes. I mean, they have to have killed at least a few people by accident, if nothing else. Right? Like, no one is that careful with a sword or bow or gun. And accidents happen. People react differently to bodily harm. Like, one person who gets shot once with a small caliber, pistol round might be fine, and a different person might go into shock and die with the same wound. So I guess all the times that it happens in games and indeed in comics, people are just lucky. That occasionally happens. Sometimes people, pedestrians, will run up to you and say, "Hey, I just saw these suspicious looking guys committing a crime," and give you a mission to fly out somewhere and go down into the sewers somewhere and beat people up. Welcome back. Did you find out what the Purple Gang is doing with the money? All the West Side gangs under one roof? That must have been a good fight. All the same, we need to find out exactly what they are planning. Since we know some of what the new Purple Gang is doing, we'll start with them and figure this out. Not bad, technical issues. Not bad. The more we know about what these gangs are up to, the better armed we are to keep them off the streets. I've got an operation in play, and you're exactly what I need to complete it. Those new Purple Gang thugs are wise to the fact that I've been investigating them, so we have to do something they won't expect. I'll lay out my plan in more detail later, but for now, you need to get some new Purple Gang clothing. Probably the best way to do that is to take it from them. Head southeast of the jail and knock a few Purple Gang heads together until you have an outfit that fits you. Now, the character creator in this game is very flexible, and Kodiak is by no means the biggest you could make a character. You can, if you are so inclined, make an absolute wall, a total beefcake, a gigantic ham, and I don't know how any of these gang members are supposed to have clothing that would fit such a gigantic boy. But oh well. Anyway, it is now 10 o'clock. I have talked and played for just about 2 hours, so I am going to leave it there and pick up from more or less this position next time on Wednesday.